so many buildings were being erected very fast.
I mean, that's an interesting angle, because then when a lockdown, the economy shut down. I wonder how people were able to build or to get money for building, but
we can only speculate on where this money was coming from,
yes.
because everyone else was crying and complaining that the economy was doing badly. Well, buildings were coming up at like a very fast rate. So particular matters, but they are representatives of the people. You have the legislature, but you also have technical staff within these ministries.
Local government.
Yes, local government that are able to sit down and assess the impact of particular decisions on a sector. So that's the kind of participation and consultation that we'd like to see happening.
Becky, I have to interrupt you there because you have to go for a break. I will pick on when we return with sort of your parting shots still around the recommendations that need to be done by the government of Uganda in future to deal with such situations. Viewers, you're watching You and the Law, the COVID edition. My name is Jonathan Ochom. Let's go for a short break and we'll be right back.
When it comes to the law, we basically live the law, you know, on a day-to-day basis, you know. Whether it is in your bedroom, there is a law that governs it. If you're married, for example, even if you're single, there could be something touching on the law, because you might be in your bedroom with an underage girl, or you might be with another person's wife, you know. All the things are the law, you know.
If you're a human being, you have rights. Those rights are called human rights. They are examples: the right to health, the right to freedom from torture, that underscores human dignity. Freedom from slavery. You're not supposed to be someone's slave.
If you look at our penal code, it sets out another marriage laws. It sets out the persons who can marry and those who cannot marry, right? For example, you can't marry your close relatives. You know, if you did, you'd be committing a crime.
The state is not supposed to tell you who to worship, how many times a day. No, you have a right to work. A right to work. You have freedom of association.
Cohabitation for whatever period of time does not make you husband and wife, right? And that is why we emphasize to people that when the relationship is still hot, you know, you must ensure that you do what? Marry.
Yes.
You know?
For human rights to be respected, protected, and fulfilled, relevant government programs must actually work. Medicine should reach hospitals, oxygen should be there, health workers should have gloves, teachers should be present. Now they are mostly absent, and they have left the profession, a good number of them. They are into trading. So things must work. If things don't work, human rights are not respected, are not protected, and are not fulfilled.
COVID-19 has tested our hope and faith as individuals, families, and the country at large. Besides destroying many aspects of our lives, the novel coronavirus has also affected our human rights in many ways. You and the Law, the COVID edition, is a 30-minute weekly television program that focuses on the impact of COVID-19 on human rights in Uganda. The program engages experts to explain the importance of rights-based approaches to the success of any public health response to ensure the respect, protection, and fulfillment of human rights amidst the challenges presented by COVID-19. You and the Law, the television program, brought to you by Legal Hub Uganda, taking the law to the last mile in proud association with I4C Africa Hub and House of Talent Television, coming soon.
Welcome back. This is House of Talent Television. You're watching You and the Law, the COVID edition, proudly brought to you by Legal Hub Uganda in partnership with I4C Africa Hub. Today we're discussing the implications of COVID-19 on land rights, and in studio we have Ms. Rebecca Tayo from Land Rights Uganda to help us unpack this. Rebecca, before we went for a break, you were emphasizing the need for participation as a key lesson that should inform future interventions if we find ourselves in such a difficult time. And I thought we could carry on from there to examine, what other ways the government of Uganda can protect land rights when we have a pandemic or in extraordinary times like those that we find ourselves now.
Okay, thank you so much, Jonathan. I think another way is ensuring that there's accountability, especially where violations have happened.
That's a... Okay.
People want to know that in case someone violates my rights, the state, taking on its duty to protect this right seriously, will bring to book whoever has violated.
So if somebody has grabbed my land and
yes,
in a lockdown especially.
yes, we're not seeing a number of these people who have especially been engaging in evictions being brought to book. So it appears as if the state is condoning such acts. But even empowering communities to be able to deal with some of these effects within, empowering communities to use their structures to resolve some cases that can be resolved at community level through use of traditional justice systems, through use of the LC court system, which is closest to them. So things such as those. And finally, transparency.
Yes.
Yeah, conducting whatever measures are being done, they should be done in a transparent manner.
By that, you may want to throw in a certain light. What exactly are we dealing with, especially from our angle of what would transparency look like from our context of land rights protection amidst a pandemic like COVID-19?
I think it's important that people know how exactly, for example, you see when people were confused as to how you can get help in this situation, during a lockdown, who do I turn to? So even though they had stipulated that, say, the ministerial zonal offices and the courts were operating mainly for criminal cases, but then who do I turn to? It was not very clear who actors could turn to in case of violations. But also in terms of particular interventions, it was not still transparent. I don't know how to put it, but transparency needed to be, it needed to be clearly.
A bit of information flow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Information was not readily available for people.
In other circles, people have been urging that the future lies in technology. People are saying that, we need to, I think, as part of, the COVID response, even the courts attempted to do a bit of, digital services. And even, I know that the Minister of Lands has been working around getting their things digital. How do you look at the role of technology in helping us protect land rights in this situation? What could have been done? What role could technology have played in dealing with the effects of COVID-19 on our land rights?
I think technology is definitely the future. I would agree, because we are moving in that direction. And I think courts try to adopt this the best by having some court cases heard online or digitally. The problem with technology is that it leaves certain groups of a community behind. So it may be discriminatory in a sense, because not everyone is up to speed with the technology or even has access to tools that would enable them partake of this technology. So whereas would encourage us to move in that direction, perhaps we should adopt like a two-pronged approach, where we use technology where it's convenient to use technology, perhaps maybe in urban settings, but for rural settings it may be much harder to
as a land rights organization done at Uganda, and like you highlighted from the start, you do a lot of advocacy. Is this an area that requires more advocacy on, and if so, what exactly would you be proposing to the government in that regard?
the area of use of technology?
Yes, for land especially.
Yeah. I think we would start with use simple technology. Start by using something that can easily be understood by a layman. So, for example, use technology to convey messages or important messages around land rights to the community, instead of probably having the message conveyed through a poster or something like that. How about you have some form of let's say talking material, talking book that can talk about this. But also we like the fact that technology is being used for inland administration issues to do with demarcation and mapping. The only issue lies in regulation of the use of this technology. So we support the use of technology and technological advancement. It makes our work a lot easier. It's more efficiently done. But they need to be, we need to remember to regulate, at the same time include everyone.
Okay. You're passionate about women's land rights as an organization. And I'm wondering, earlier on in your presentation, you talked about death as a result of COVID-19 and how it has created sort of a new cluster of widows in the country. People who have died because of COVID-19. And we're thinking, how best can we prepare for situations like death? I mean, what can a person do in their family to ensure that, you know, when death happens, this is how I protect my loved ones? Because I know that, I mean, death is a fact of life, but then when you have a situation like COVID, it could come perhaps earlier than you could anticipate. You could have anticipated. I mean, we saw young people, 30s, 20s, 50s, you know, dying. How best can we? Because we're talking about the state mainly, but as individuals, how do we prepare ourselves to protect our land during pandemics like this, but also protect the interests of our loved ones who could be affected if we, you know, passed on?
I think the best way to do this is through writing of wills, because then you dictate in what way, in which your estate will be distributed, who gets what, when, and how. So the best way to protect your family would be write a will. Write a will and follow the proper procedure.
You may want to explain that further, you know, writing a will?
Writing a will basically...
What does it take in practical sense?
There are requirements under the Succession Act that you must follow. It must be attested to. That means you must have at least 2 witnesses.
Who are these? Anyone? A lawyer? A
no,
friend,
it doesn't have to be a lawyer. Anyone can be a witness to your will. Preferably someone that's not going to benefit from the will, because then it becomes hard to prove this will once you've passed, because they have an interest. So it must be attested to, it must be written, note down and reduce whatever it is that you want to do on pen, on paper. Then it must be dated. You must clearly identify yourself, who you are, where you're from. You must sign this will. So those are some of the stringent requirements that are required. And preferably keep it in a safe place where family members are not able to access.
So within your house, or you could give it to a friend.
Within your household. It could cause more chaos.
I know some people have been giving this to those who have lawyers, you know, give it to their personal lawyers, others, you know, to a priest.
To a bank for safe custody. So wherever you think it's safe and its contents would not be revealed, that's where you can keep that.
I think that's an important area for perhaps another discussion on another day, because when you talk about wills, the practice of will writing in this country is still a little bit, you know, low and
shrouded by suspicion.
Yes, and many people think that if I write a will, I am inviting death. But I think COVID-19 has showed us that death can happen anytime. There's no designated period, and nobody knows when they will die, and it's just an event that can happen and could be caused by anything else, and we have to prepare, because in this show we've been emphasizing the role of government in protecting human rights, in protecting land and property rights, but at the same time, like Rebecca has indicated, it's important even as individuals to take necessary measures to ensure that our property, our land rights are protected in this period. We're coming to the tail end of the show. They can wonder what your parting shots could be as we sort of wrap up the show.
My parting shots would be, I think we mentioned it. We mentioned them when we were speaking about lessons and recommendations. There is need in whatever interventions we have to curb COVID-19 or perhaps any other pandemic or endemic we may face, is center the rights of people when you're dealing, when you're putting in place interventions. Think about how it's going to affect people's livelihoods. Think about how is their food security. Think about even issues to do with access to justice. But have you centered their rights and their aspirations and needs as well? Yeah, those are my parting shots.
To the policymakers out there, Rebecca makes very strong points. We need to center our interventions on people's lives, on people's rights, because at the end of the day, the role of the state is to protect citizens, is to protect their rights. It's only fair that whatever intervention they put in place is based on the interests, on the rights of the people, because then we'll be able to have interventions, or measures, or policies that reflect the needs of the people and speak to their aspirations as citizens, which I think gets the buy-in and makes people appreciate why the government exists. With that, we've come to the end of today's edition of You and the Law. In the next episode, we'll be discussing yet another fundamental human right that has been affected by this virus. So tune into House of Talent Television. Keep following us on social media, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. Content is being streamed. And until then, I'll see you.
I want you to start by telling us, how did you think about starting Marketing Africa? What was the inspiration behind it? And what is Marketing Africa all about as a company?
When I was at the university, we had a publication. It was called the Marketing Review. And we were able to publish that magazine and get 18 full-page adverts at that time, which was a first. I've never seen it up to today.
My name is Eddie Okila. I'm a fitness coach and I'm very passionate about health and fitness of a human being. I believe that your health and fitness is equal to the sum total of your wealth. You cannot make money when you are not fit and healthy, and neither can you wake up in the morning to go and work to get paid to have money if you're sick. Why do you have to find a fitness coach, not a gym instructor? It's because a gym instructor is trained for only two things or one thing. Teach you how to use the machine whenever you show up in the gym. That's it. But a fitness coach is going to tell you, number one, I need to understand where you're coming from. Number two, I need to understand your muscle systems. Okay. Number three, I need to understand and study your cardiorespiratory capacity. Is it good enough before I even put you anywhere to start doing anything called exercise? So today, I'm going to focus on two things. Using just push-ups. And the push-up is going to help you build your chest. It's going to help you improve your cardiorespiratory capacity. That is if you're doing them as a set, but not just as one thing. So I'm going to answer the question of what exercise you can start with. Follow the video and let's get into it. Everything you do must be done in 3 sets. Okay, so we're going to start. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to start with the volleyball block jumps, what we call the quick jumps. So put your hand up like this and count from 3 to 1 when everybody is set, and then you start. So 3, 2, 1. So that will be your first set, okay? You're just getting yourself warmed up. So we're going to the first set of jumping jacks. And I'm starting with my shoulders open, okay? Working everybody. Okay, that will be your first set. And when you've done the first set of jumping jacks, go back and do your second set of the volleyball jump. Everything we do in the workout must be done in 3 sets. That is your second set, okay, of the jump. You're going to get some pain if you're doing it for the first time, and that's when you'll know that you've actually worked out. So 3, 2, 1, let's go. That will be your second set, okay? Make sure those 3 sets are done. You see I'm already sweating, right? I've not done the running like the president did because I don't have a bigger sitting room like the president, okay? Neither do I have an office bigger like the president. But what I have is I'm working within 1 meter confinement. So we're going for the third set of jumping jacks. 3, 2, 1, let's go, okay? That's your third set. See what is going on, okay? No big place needed, but you have to know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, okay? And which muscles to work on. That is very important for your workout, okay? So, lockdown and locked you out, you're not allowed to move out, but this you can still do it here. I'm improving. This is what we call cardiorespiratory capacity building, okay? Your aerobic capacity. Again, there's something I need to talk about. Every time you go to the hospital and doctors tell you, oh, we have treated you now, so you go and do exercise. Where do they send you? They'll have to send you to a person like me who understand the things they don't understand. The doctor don't know how to work on the muscle themselves. So in other words, I tell you, do this if you want to prevent yourself from getting this, which is before you get to that person. So when the doctor sends you back from the hospital and say, go and do exercise, that process is called restoration. For you to restore that, you need a person who understands human kinetics very well. You need a person who understands the human muscles and how they work very well. We're about to finish our workout from where we started. Ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Take the right leg and pull it straight. Take the left one and pull it straight. Put your stomach up. All right, we're going for the last set of push-up. Never changes. Maintain everything to the core. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's go, coach. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Up. Sit. Ready? And stomach. 3 sets. Elbow down. Elbow here. Ready to go? Okay. Counting 3, 2, 1. Coach, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 6. Okay? You have finished your workout for the day. See you next time. Stay safe.
The private sector is not yet fully utilized because not everybody can be employed by government. And we are looking at a future whereby more people are employed in the private sector than in government. So I think if we all work hard, if we all work together and invest in the right areas, there's been a lot of talk about value addition in the agriculture sector, in the mineral sector. If there is enough investment in those areas, I think it can create enough jobs for our children and grandchildren.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to take you to question number 4, Andrew, which is, let's talk about your journey at City Hall and the foray into the Executive Director's office, which is as Andrew Chitaka,
Very
and
interesting.
as well as the Director Engineering.
Very interesting. I joined KCCA on 1st November 2011. And before then, I was
for so much.
CEO
of whatever. They give so much.
This is the reason why you're actually on the bench.
Because of my credibility. Thank you so much. But now they attack you, they vilify you. And the goal is to weaken you financially. Is to weaken your honor. These are slanderers. So I'm glad that someone would stay up at night to ask and learn about me. And I pray that in the next 2 months, because I know many Ugandans who travel overseas, when they go there, one of the things, because the media has been so much, and Sam Kutesa, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, has really not done a good job. He has dropped the ball on this issue. Why? So many of us are being accused of being gay killers, including me. You've just heard that person. Uganda is being accused that we kill gays, which actually is absolutely untrue. And because of this, it has affected our tourism. It affects people who go overseas to do work or study. It affects whenever you go to a conference. Hi, my name is Eddie Okiela. Oh, where are you from? I'm from Uganda. Oh, you are the gay killers. And then you begin to describe. So one of the things that I've done is I've written a book, which should be coming out. I know that I keep saying the same thing, but the work of doing a book takes a long time, and I wish I could be supported.
Yeah.
You know, many people who write on this subject,
Yes.
like Sylvia Tamale,
Yes.
she's supported by the Rockefeller Foundation,
Yes.
Carnegie Foundation.
Yes.
There is money.
Is a very big brand, and as we go on, we will probably discuss the things we're trying to do to see that things change for the better.
Good. Sean, on the CEO bench, for everyone who is following, we're live on our YouTube studio where we actually streaming from. So YouTube studio, for everybody asking for a link, is actually House of Talent Uganda.
Confident in themselves and what they are offering.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest problem. Like, women will easily settle for a less pay than men would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mona Onyeitodeke goes on to say, or I think this is a comment, says, I didn't know that beauty products are taxed at 60%. Whoa.
They are. I pray that changes soon, but they are.
Okay. So
Yeah.
with that challenge of 60%,
setting up the company, you're doing tours all across the world. You know, a personal account is great, but how these things are taxed becomes important for you know, for your business later on. As soon as you cross that threshold of 50 million a year, you know, you're now in
the
a
interest become more
yeah,
share.
yes.
It is a CEO Bench. My name is Eddie Okela, and my guest this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening, depending on which part of the world you are actually catching the CEO Bench from, is Irene Esther Mutuzo, a young girl springing out from the suburb of Kampala, Uganda, the capital city of Uganda. And of course, going around the world and doing many things across the world. She's a lady on a rise, the young lady on a rise to the top. And with about 25 nominations to come to the CEO Bench, we of course have Irene this afternoon or this morning or this evening on the CEO Bench. Irene, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, and it's such a pleasure to be here.
You're welcome.
Yes.
And we just want to know, who is Irene Mutuzo in a nutshell? Are you Ugandan? If yes, where do you come from? What are the values that define you as a person?
Okay. So Mutuzo Irene Esther is a Ugandan. Yeah. I come from Kisoro. I was born in Kampala, particularly Mulago Hospital. I am a firstborn of two very great parents, my dad and my late mom. We are four in our family, that is me and my siblings. I love people. I love to speak. I love to write. In my work, I work as the head of business growth and PR at Liwala, which I'll be talking more about. Yeah. I also love to write poetry and perform poetry. The values that define me, well, I'm a Christian, and I believe that our lives are sort of like a masterpiece that God has built, and we are here to serve. So for me, it's more on godly principles, things like humility, things like forgiveness, things like listening to others, treating others well. So those are the different values that define who I am. And hard work and learning, continuous learning, being humble to always know that I don't know it all. So I need to learn.
Wow.
And there's always something to learn from
Yes.
someone.
Yeah.
Whatever category they are at, whatever class they are at,
Yeah.
there's always something to learn from everyone.
Wow. Well, welcome to the show. This is Irene Mutuzo, who is our guest this morning on the CEO Bench, or this afternoon, this evening, depending on which part of the world you're watching the show. First of all, I want to take this opportunity to welcome everyone all across the world, all our brothers and sisters in the US, those who are staying up late to catch the CEO Bench. And of course, Dennis is in Australia, and of course, Professor Penny Nachayo, the Assistant Professor for Design Communication, Washington University. Welcome to the program. I hope we'll be able to put everyone to sleep. And Irene, what a moment and a journey that we're going to have this morning. I want to just take you straight to the story of Irene Mutuzo. Growing up, did you ever see yourself being where you are today?
Honestly, no. and I'll tell you, and I like to share this story because, you know, it defines me.
Yeah.
So growing up, I actually used to struggle with stammering. And even to date, on the days I'm not mentally prepared, you'll notice that I will stutter a lot, or I will have a lot of long pauses in between my sentences, because those have become my coping mechanisms. And I remember in my S1 at Navisunsa Girls School, I'd actually, you know, going in, I'd got into the debating club, and then I realized that I loved to speak. I could actually speak if I put my mind to it. And I actually made an impression, and I was given an opportunity to read the news on a Monday assembly.
At school?
At school.
Yeah.
Well, I practiced and practiced, and I went to read the news. I get to the podium, and I don't know what happened, but I froze. I literally froze and kept stammering and stuttering, and for lack of a better word, it was a disaster. And I walked away from that podium, vowing never to speak in public, lest I embarrass myself. But I remember, and a couple of weeks later, I kept shying away from public speaking opportunities until I told myself, you know what, I can let this define me, or I can rise up from it. So I kept, you know, I went back to debating. I went back to learning how to speak. I got into speech competitions. Did I win them? Not really, but I kept getting better at it. And even today, I'm getting better at it. And I always share that story because now in my adult life, I literally speak every day for a living.
Wow.
And even in my previous roles, I've been in marketing, I've been in PR, I've been in communication. I never ever thought that's the path I would take. But you know, things happened. I always thought I would probably be an engineer or a doctor. Then somewhere in my S6, then that's when I realized, okay, I love to speak, so I thought I would be a lawyer. Then I realized that I want to understand people, and I love to understand people. So I get into psychology, and then I realized that there's a lot more about people to learn from and to share and communicate.
Wow. Irene, let me take you back a little bit. For all our guests and rather viewers viewing the show from all across, you know, the world, and people who do not know you very well. As a young girl growing up in Uganda, you earlier on stated that you spring or come out from, you know, Kasese.
Kisoro.
Kisoro.
Yes.
So
I'm a Mufumbira.
Yeah. So if I'm watching this show and I want to know what happened in Kisoro, and this girl I'm seeing now, all nice, beautiful, put together, but I don't know where this Kisoro is, which part of the, you know, Uganda is this place from. Take us a little bit back about your journey from childhood and the ancestry of Mutuzo.
Okay. So I won't lie. It's not that I grew up in Kisoro. No, that's you could say that's where my village is. My village is actually on the border of Rwanda and Uganda. So that's where my village is. But I grew up in I could say my parents had very humble beginnings, and as a firstborn, I saw that. So we went from a one-room apartment in Kasubi. It wasn't even called an apartment, but I'm just saying the word apartment. So I saw my parents really work hard and go to where they are. And that also sort of had an impact on me. And And for me, when I was in school, I just always wanted to do more. So I was one of those kids that was everywhere, just trying to do more. Even when I wasn't good at some things, I just wanted to learn and do more. And particularly, I could say my work life began when I was about 14 years. I was chosen to be part of a group to begin a pull-out, then called Teens, at New Vision. Now that pull-out
Teens magazine, the publication, the New Vision, the publication that comes out of it.
Now it's called Swag, but then when we were starting it out, it was Teens. So that's how I began my work journey. So at first it was, you know, something you do, you like. I would keep sending in articles, I would keep writing. Then in my S4, I had some time on my hands, so I went in and I was also helping out with the editorial work. And then I grew in my writing, I grew in my communication. Then particularly in my S5, S6, then I was the president of the debating club of Nabisensa Girls School. And we had, you know, this dream to have the biggest debate ever. And we kept trying to look at, you know, which person we would invite as the guest of honor. And one of the people that came to our minds was Mr. Robert Kabushenga. But because, you know, he was quite popular that
then
time.
Then he was the CEO.
Yes, then he was the CEO. And he was quite popular. And, you know, one of those people that is very difficult to get. We were quite scared on whether he would even come. So we even had a plan B. Now, because I had been at New Vision writing, my friends thought, oh, now, Irene,
you are here?
You are here, you can get this done. So, so I was put on a mission to get Mr. Kabushenga to come and be our guest of honor. And I remember taking that letter with our patron. I thank God he wasn't there because I was so nervous. And but he responded to the letter and he came. And when he came, you know, indeed the debate was really big. It had all this coverage. And he was so impressed with the organization, and he told us, you know, the cabinet can come and work at New Vision, like voluntary work.
This is the debating cabinet of the Nabisensa Girls School
in my year. So we ended up having could say VAC job. And you know, when VAC came, my friends were like, okay, Irene, Mr. Kabushenga promised us this opportunity. Please go and ask. so being bold, yes, we did go and ask him, and he was very open. And he made sure we got those opportunities. And I remember him telling us that if you work hard, you'll actually get full-time jobs. So we worked hard, and we ended up getting full-time jobs. So I was at New Vision for about 4 years, and throughout my campus life, I was actually working at New Vision. Then in my third year, now when we had to do the usual internship, I also got an opportunity to intern at the United Bank for Africa. It was meant to be for 3 months, but I'm humbled that they liked the work I was doing, so they kept me on for some more months. And that particular year was tough, very, very tough.
Why do you qualify it as very tough year?
I was juggling school as a finalist, and you can imagine I had exams, I had a thesis. I was still at New Vision because I felt it wasn't yet my time to leave. I still wanted to learn, and then I also had the internship. So my day looked like 8 to 4, I'm at the bank. After 4, I ran to New Vision. Then I was doing evening classes, so at about 7, 8, I'd then take a bike to class.
Wow.
And that was my day. That was.
So which campus was this?
It was at Makerere.
University.
Yes,
All right.
But I'm glad that, you know, I went through that season. It taught me resilience. It taught me the ability to juggle a lot of things. I learned so many skills. So many skills that I would later use in my year. I'm glad that I didn't fail at any of the things. I actually passed, and even in school, I was on top of my class. So it just pushed me to work hard because I knew I didn't have time.
Wow. Irene, I mean, hearing your story, you sound so mature at that age. You sound so very organized at that age. And we often don't find people within that age bracket that would be very organized and very sound to be a little bit more astute in what they want, looking at what they want. How old were you, and where would you place your ability to be that organized, to be that very, you know, what I would say, upright in the mind, that you know what you want to do, you know how to get it, and you're stuck to that point of saying, I will do it. How old were you, and what was your driving factor, to say the least?
Well, I could say I was about 19 to 24,
yes.
23,
yes.
23.
Yes.
And no, I wasn't organized.
Why do you say you were not organized?
I was just trying to figure out life,
yes.
and I thank God that all these opportunities came to me,
yeah.
and I grabbed them as like, you know, sometimes opportunity comes to us once.
Yes.
And I believe, I'm a firm believer in nothing happens to you
by accident.
By accident.
Yeah.
And God has a reason why that thing is happening to you.
Yes.
God has a reason why He's putting you in that space.
Yes.
God has a reason why He's putting certain people in your life.
Yes.
So for me, it's not by accident.
Yes.
And I can tell you, no, I wasn't organized. Yes. I was someone learning,
yes.
and you can imagine someone learning on the job.
Yeah.
And even later, after now graduating, I now started working at Brighter Monday.
Yeah.
Then after Brighter Monday, I began working at Green Hill Schools, where I got my first, I could say, opportunity as a young manager.
Yeah.
And even in that role, I learned, my God, it just stretched me, and I learned and I grew. Because, you know, as a manager and as a leader, of course, you know, when you're older, there are certain things you have seen over the years. But we young managers, at times we need to learn things by doing. And we also need to learn by asking questions from people who have been there. So particularly that opportunity to manage people, you know, some people who are much older than I am, the opportunity to begin a department, a PR department, right from scratch, was really, really humbling. Because I learned, and I always say, I don't know what the people at Green Hill saw in me. Because as young, as literally 25 years.
Yeah.
But, you know, they took a chance on me, and I'm forever grateful. Because, my God, I learned, and I created so many relationships there. One of my mentors is my previous supervisor, Mrs. Joy Brain Kamaraka, and oh gosh, I learned from her. I learned about criticism. You know, we as human beings, we do not want to be criticized, but we need to be criticized. And even in my role and my work at Diwala, we have a very open culture whereby, you know, we want to grow each other, we want to help each other. So when there's something that is going great, we'll say it. When something is not going great, we'll tell each other, you know, that, you know, we need to improve. And that's the culture we need to have to be able to grow. Because if you do not have people that are telling you yes, you can have a lot of people telling you what you're doing right, but they're not telling you where you're going wrong, you're not going to learn. So,
wow. Wow. Well, we are talking to Irene Mutuzo on the CEO bench this morning, and of course, or this afternoon, this evening, depending on which part of the world you are actually catching this program from. The CEO bench will take a break, and when we come back, we will continue with the interview with Irene Esther Mutuzo, who is the head of business development and PR at Diwala, actually, Diwala, the company that we're going to get to know more about what it does and how they do their stuff. She got 25 nominations from you. So if you're one of the people who nominated her, we would like to hear your kisses and disses coming in. Please send in your comments, your kisses and disses. And of course, this interview is streaming live on our page. So go in there and share it far and wide with everyone, so that you never know which part or who actually is listening into and which part of their life you're going to change. We'll be right back after the break. people at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Yeah, remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
The private sector is not yet fully utilized because not everybody can be employed by government. And we are looking at a future whereby more people are employed in the private sector than in government. So I think if we all work hard, if we all work together and invest in the right areas, there's been a lot of talk about value addition in the agriculture sector, in the mineral sector. If there is enough investment in those areas, I think it can create enough jobs for our children and grandchildren.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to take you to question number 4, Andrew, which is, let's talk about your journey at City Hall and the foray into the Executive Director's office, which is as Andrew Chitaka,
Very
and
interesting.
as well as the Director Engineering.
Very interesting. I joined KCCA on 1st November 2011. And before then, I was
It is a CEO bench, and of course, welcome back from that break. And Irene, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Before we went for a break, you were telling us a little bit more about your life, and we're trying to get to understand who is Irene Mutuzo and the work you do. I want to take you straight to, you know, the core part of this interview, the CEO bench, where you are actually in right now, or at the moment. The program focuses on leadership, change management, and transformation. You've spoken very profoundly about your life, where you come from, and what you're doing. But we want to focus more on leadership, starting with, what is your understanding of leadership, Irene?
Okay. My understanding of leadership is service.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not about yourself. It's not about being the most intelligent person in the room. It's not about the money. It's about serving.
Okay.
And leadership, to be a leader, you don't have to lead a team. You can be a leader in your home. You can be a leader in your cell group. You can be a leader in your group of friends. You can be your own leader as well. For example, today when I got up in the morning, I had to make decisions about how I look, how I move, and that is leadership as well. Yeah.
Okay. And what is your understanding of self-leadership?
Self-leadership, to me, is first of all understanding who you are. You know, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? How do you keep getting better at your strengths and how do you keep working on your weaknesses. If you have that understanding of yourself, it even becomes easier to serve other people. Like I say, leadership is serving at the end of the day. It's making impact in people's lives and making impact in community. Self-leadership is also, to me, it's also being proactive. You know, you are the master of your life. You choose where you want to go and where you do not want to go. When you are faced with decisions, you choose what to do. If today you're given 2 jobs or 3 jobs or 4 jobs, the decision comes to you. Yes, you'll have a lot of opinions, you'll get a lot of advice, but the decision still comes from you. So it's very important to be aware of who you are, be aware of the people you serve, be aware of those people that you listen to. You know, I call them my village. Your family, your friends, your mentors, to be able to guide you in decision making. Because at the end of the day, also leadership is a lot about decision making. And that's why, you know, you've used the term self-leadership, because very many times we have to make decisions as human beings, as individuals.
Wow. Irene, on that note, have you been a leader?
Yes, I have. in many, I could say, capacities. Yes.
How did you know that you were a leader? At what point did you realize that I'm actually now a leader, I'm leading self, and I can lead people?
I think I got to know that at a very young age. At a very young age, and even people around me would notice it. So I'm always those people that like to get things going. I'm those people. So usually I stand out as that person. So if we have said that we are going to have a meeting, that meeting will happen. I don't believe in saying something and then not doing it, you know. And sadly to say, we have a lot of people like that, you know, being a great talker and not doing anything about it. If you shouldn't do something about something, it's okay because it happens, but explain why. If you say that you're going to call back someone and you do not call back, you know, apologize to them and explain why. Probably you forgot, and it's okay because we have a lot of things on our plate. It's okay. If you say that you'll give someone feedback, you know, in our society, we do not want to give negative feedback. For example, if someone has come to you with a proposal and you do not like it, or you think, you know, this is not for me, we'll just keep quiet. So we'll just leave someone in limbo and not give feedback. So for me, those are very important aspects of leadership. And I think those are the aspects I bring to table as a leader. And ever since I was young, people noticed that about me. So right from my primary school, I was a leader. I was a head girl in primary school. At high school, I was the president debate club. Then, you know, then I went to now the work world where I had gathered a few skills enough to apply for some leadership positions, which I got. So I think it was really, really early in my age. And also, I think it comes naturally because I'm a firstborn. I'm a firstborn of 4, and naturally you're a leader. So I babysat all my siblings, all of them. So when they are, you know, they're trying to talk back at me, I'm like, I raised you. And particularly this year also, you know, being a leader on the family front, I've been challenged. I lost my mom last year, and I have had to step up. I've had to step up for my siblings. I've had to step up for my dad, for my aunts, for my uncles, for my grandparents, and I guess I'm growing. I'm really, really growing.
In that regard,
in that regard. And at Diwala, I'm also really, really, really growing. And I'm blessed to have supervisors that want to see me grow. You know,
I want to take you straight to this question, Irene. I mean, as we wind up the leadership perspective of the, you know, the questions and the leadership perspective. One, there are 5 different or 4 different types of leadership approaches that, you know, are available in the world for us to always use. There's what we called autocratic leadership approach, an autocratic leader. And there's what we called a transformative leadership person. And then there's what we call a democratic leadership person or approach. and then there's what we call laissez-faire leadership approach, and or a leader who is a laissez-faire, and then there's what we call servant leadership. Which of these do you practice most and why?
I could say actually it's none of the above. I think I'm more a situational leader. Yeah, I'm more a situational leader because I believe that we are not robots. We are human beings at the end of the day. And even with the people you serve, there are human beings. And that the way you lead someone is not, one person is not the way you lead another person. For example, you find that people, there are those people that want to do things on their own and they don't want to be, you know, chased around. So those, you take more of a laid back, but of course you check in. Then there are those that constantly want you to check in on their work. They constantly want advice. You also do that. Then there are those times whereby a decision has to be made. And you as a leader, you have to make that decision on behalf of everyone. So you probably tend to be, I don't like to use the word autocratic, but I like to use the word take the responsibility of being a leader. So I think for me it depends on the situation, it depends on the people, it depends on the, you know, the person. Even with my siblings, them being teenagers, I've had to learn that we need to vote on some things. I can't tell them, you know, this is what you're going to wear, or this is what you're going to do in your vacation. We need to sit down, weigh the options, I hear them out, they hear me out, and then we're able to come at a decision.
Okay. Irene, we're going to go straight to our next, you know, part of this interview. This interview on the CEO bench is about leadership, change management, and transformation. And of course, while we move into transformation, we'll look into the place where you are. You are overwhelmingly voted to come into the CEO bench. And we wanted to know, why do these people vote you in, and what are they looking for from you? And one of the things that we would like to know from you right now is about managing change. We've talked about leadership, but in your journey as a person, you've been moving quite a bit. You've moved from Nabisunsa, from Kisoro to Kampala, from Kampala to, you know, Nabisunsa, from Nabisunsa you've now moved, you are now in Norway, you're about to go to Netherlands, you're going to different places. So how are you able to manage this change from one place to the next place? What do you say when you are leaving? And at what point do you now know it's time for me to move?
Okay. First of all, a disclaimer, I'm here in Uganda. I'm not in Norway, though Diwala is both Norwegian based and Ugandan based, and I'll get into that. Change management. So I'll answer this question from 2 points. First of all, in my life, as well as, you know, now handling change, you know, with other people. So in my life, and even the person I am, I don't believe in being boxed. You know, sometimes we want to take one career direction and that's it. You know, you're a doctor and this is what I'm going to do. And there are other aspects about you. For example, I've worked in PR, I've worked in journalism, I've worked in HR, I've worked in marketing, I've even lectured before. I am now into tech. I also perform and write poetry, and these are all aspects that make who I am. Of course, at a certain point in my life, I was worried because I didn't know what I wanted to be.
Why were you worried?
Because I didn't know because everyone seemed like they had figured this life thing out. Like I can tell you, even at campus. So I applied to get into law school, and actually got into law school. I both at Makerere and UCU. I wanted law so bad that I was like, if I don't get it at Makerere, I'm going to get it at UCU. And I got in. And I don't know, the first week I got in and I realized it wasn't me.
What was driving you to go to law, by the way?
Like I said, I liked talking. And because I was a debater, everyone thought I would automatically be a lawyer. And that was, you know, grounded into my head by my teachers, by my family. Everyone was like, oh, she's going to be a lawyer, she's going to be a lawyer. So that pushed me to go to law school. Then I get in and I realize this is not what I want to do. So I changed. And I did industrial and organizational psychology. And I loved it so much, I actually mastered in it. And what that gave me is that it just opened me up to understanding people. Understanding people in the workplace, things that you're talking about like leadership and change management, and understanding personalities. And I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I did it. But yes, it was a difficult change because I didn't know what I was doing. And even up to now, if you ask me what I want to do, I just tell people I want to make a change. How I do it, in what field or what sector, I'm still figuring that out. I just want to make a change. I just want to change lives and serve people.
Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, so for me it's been, one, being open-minded, being ready to learn, and that's very important. If you, the best way to handle change is to be ready to learn.
Wow.
If you go into a new environment or into a new workplace, and you're just going with your headspace in one place with what you want to do, it will be so difficult for you to integrate into that new environment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Irene, listening to you talk about change management, my next question would be, so at what point would you actually realize I need to move from here, I've outgrown this place? Because there are many people who are stuck in certain places. They don't know how to go. You at New Vision, for example, you said 4 years. I suppose was a good place for you to be, and you would like to be in that place. You would like everything to be there. But you had to move. Then you went to Bank of Africa. I mean, who don't want to be in a corporate space where there is, money? You can even get a loan very easily. You can buy a car very easily. Young people are often driven by such comfort, but yet you moved. And then you moved to Green Hills Academy, I think, as you said. A big school with big pay, with big responsibility, yet you moved. What was making you move from one place to, I know you said already that you don't like to be boxed, but there must be something. And at what point do you realize that I need to move? Because the CEO bench would like the person who voted you, who nominated you, to actually know why you are moving and how you are communicating the change. How can they manage it in their own lives?
First of all, moving is hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard. And I'm one of those people, when I work somewhere, I just suck into it. Like, everyone will know I work for this place.
Yes.
I just got to love it.
That's how Diwala is getting it from you, because everybody's talking about Diwala, and so I was like, okay. But yes.
So I just got to love it, and it becomes me.
Yeah.
And, so it's difficult to move.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult. And I can tell you, the times I've written resignation letters, I take over months keeping them somewhere. Because I'm trying to ask myself, is this, first of all, the right decision for me to take? Then I keep asking myself, oh my God, I love these people. I feel like I'm breaking their hearts. I feel like I'm... and I'm being real with you, because I like to tell stories from a personal perspective. I don't like to come off like I'm on a billboard and I'm perfect. It's difficult. And the times I've realized I need to move is when I feel that there's somewhere I need to make more impact. Right? There's some, it's not that I feel like, oh, I've learned everything I need to learn from this place. No. I still feel that there's a lot to learn, and even that, and that's why it's difficult for me to move, because I feel like, have I learned enough to move from this place? And for me, that's what pushes me. If I feel like, okay, an opportunity has come up, and I feel that this opportunity is going to help me change lives and serve people. Do I take it or do I not take it? And also, it's been difficult not to move when there are opportunities.
How do you manage change when there's opportunity, but you're going to hurt somebody, or you're going to hurt the organization where you're moving from? I mean, how do you communicate to them that, guys, time has come, I'm leaving, sorry, but they're hurt?
Yeah.
How do you?
and I'll just give an example.
Yeah.
You know, when I was telling my supervisor, who also happens to be my mentor,
Yeah.
a very, very lovely lady,
Yeah.
Mrs. Joy Veronica Maraka. And I remember getting into that conversation with her, and it was tough. It was tough. But I remember her telling me that, you know what, I always knew that you're going to grow. And I'm happy for you. It is sad that you're leaving, but I'm happy for you. And I somehow always knew this day was going to come because I see so much capability in you. Yeah. I see how much you have learned. Like you came in so raw, making all these mistakes, learning from them, and you've been open-minded to learn. Yeah. And I always believe in leaving a place in a good way. Okay. You know, don't be like, oh, because I'm leaving, I'm not going to turn up to work. I'm not going to do the things I need to do. I'll begin looking down at everyone. Yes. You know, if people from my previous workplace call me, I won't pick up those calls. Yes. I mean, I've moved on. Yes. Yes. And that's a very bad mentality. Because what if things don't work out where you have moved and you need to go back? Yes. Or, you know, or what if you're going to go back to your previous boss to ask for business? Yeah. So it's very, very important to live well. Okay. To live well. And if there are things that have gone wrong, it's also important to apologize. Yeah. Apologizing doesn't mean that you are dumb. Yeah. It doesn't mean that you are, you know, you are trying to belittle yourself. Yeah. If you have made a wrong decision, if you have made a mistake, say sorry. Wow. And learn from it.
Wow, Irene, we're talking change management. You have heard from Irene there. Managing change means that you have got to be real to the people that you're leaving, and also you've got to be real to the people of where you are going, and don't burn the bridges, because you might go back tomorrow to pick a leaf or two from there, or you might just have a turnaround to go back. The CEO Bench will take a break, and when we come back, Irene will dive into transformation and, of course, our work life at Diwala. Stay right there, we'll be right back after the break.
My name is Dr. Jinpo Olowo. Thank you for watching House of Talent Television. I love to inspire people. I love to talk about my experiences and how God has been able to use me in the different exposures. And through the leadership, through change management and transformation, I've been able to do a couple of things in my life. Now, are you a kind of person who is tired of your status quo? Do you want your situation to change? Are you tired of what is going on in your life? You know, change is a fact of life. We've all been through experiences in the last couple of months that have taken us to a place where we need to do something about our lives. We need to change whatever is going on. So if you have not piled up investment for yourself, you need to do that. If you've not done businesses to hold your family in future, you need to do that. Are you thinking of full-time employment? You need to be thinking about your life after employment or your business in the next couple of years. So if you want us to chat, if you want us to talk about this, please get in touch with us at SEAL Uganda on number 0772443085, or check our website www.sealuganda.com, or on all the social media handles. You can hook me up or Facebook, that is Jinpo Olowo, on Instagram, Jinpo Olowo, and on Twitter and LinkedIn. Then we can chat a way forward with you. We can help you, we can coach you, we can walk with you this journey of financial freedom. Thank you.
There's a lot that is involved in the civil society organizations. There's leadership in itself, there's management of processes, there's management of the human resource, there's fundraising, there's research. It's a lot that needs to be done. And many times there is a feeling that is too much for a woman because she has other traditional roles that she needs to do as at home. Yeah. So many times as people are looking for leaders in civil society organizations, the priority is usually given to men because of our society that feels that men have the time, men have the capacity, men have the ability to lead, to take this organization to greater heights.
Leadership is a privilege of moving people towards a destiny, and for me it could be towards God's agenda.
It is a CEO Bench. My name is Ed Yokela. Irene Mutuzo, who is the business development manager for Diwala and the PR at the same time. It's interesting to note how you're doing these things and how the journey has been. But first, coming back to the show from where we left, you talked very profoundly about change management and how you were able to manage change moving forward. A lot of us find it very difficult, to be honest with you, to move from one point to the next point. Some people are stuck in jobs. They can't move 15 years, 20 years, no personal development, no self-awareness. The leadership journey is completely severely limited, that they are not able to move from one point to the next, and so there is no growth. Now, when there is no growth, there is no transformation. Yeah. We want to go to the transformation, Irene. And transformation means you have managed change, and if you manage change, you transform to a different person, and if you did transform from a different person, you transform the community. We begin to see the transformation in community. You've been to different places. Yeah. Describe for us the transformation in different places that you have been to.
Okay, so where do I begin from?
First of all, what is your understanding of transformation, the word transformation?
Transformation to me means change, but it also doesn't mean changing completely. There are aspects of yourself that make who you are. Yeah. Those values. Just because you have moved to another place, and maybe there are certain things that aren't going right in that place, doesn't mean that you change your values. So yes, much as you change and you transform, which is growth, if there are certain values that you stand for, they need to continue being there, because values make you. All these things can go, and even when you're out of a job, people eventually forget you, but people do not forget who you are. People do not forget the values that make you. So for me, that is very, very important.
So do you think Irene Esther Mutuzo or Mutuzo Irene Esther have been a transformative person everywhere you've been?
I would like to say yes.
How did you know that you have been a transformative person? Yes.
For example, again, at New Vision, the pull-out that we